Day one of Donald Trump's first criminal trial is over. It is concluded. They are adjourned for the day, coming back 9:30 a.m. tomorrow sharp to continue jury selection. Jury selection is probably going to take a little bit longer than normal because of the circumstances of the trial. But man, so much happened today, both inside the courtroom, outside of the courtroom. We're going to be talking about the major moments. I have so much to share with you, so much to show you. But I think the overall takeaway from what happened today is not good for Trump. Just not good for Trump. You know, his typical antics that he tried in the courtroom, different frivolous motions were just denied. And his usual outbursts were kept to a minimum, although he spoke to the media before and after leaving court. But I think the media coverage of this, what we know about what happened in the courtroom and what the judge was saying and whatnot, is that it was not a good day for Donald Trump. And that is a win for America. That's a win for justice, because when it's a good day for Donald Trump, things get messed up, right? So I have a lot to show you. I'm going to throw up some different pictures from the inside the courtroom. It's historic. We have different stories of what the judge was saying, what the prosecutors were arguing. And then we have stories about Trump himself in the courtroom falling asleep. I'm serious. Stay tuned. And then we're going to look at Trump's speech after the proceedings today. But man, am I excited to dive right in. So let's just start kind of like in an easy place. I just want to show you some pictures from the courtroom today because I think that we should all see them. It's a historic moment. Here is the first courtroom sketch to come out of this trial. The very first one. Obviously, video cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. Nothing is being filmed, and cameras just generally through the proceeding are not being allowed. But this is the sketch. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Trump looks terrified as always, right? Even in a sketch. But we actually do have a photo of him in the courtroom today. This is it. There are multiple. This is the one where he's kind of looking straight on in the camera, and he looks soulless. He looks very unhappy to be there. Looks tired. Just looks overall like meh, right? I think that's my reaction. I think he looks meh in that photo. He's kind of just staring straight on the camera. I don't know if he was going with trying to look intimidating. He tried that with his Georgia mugshot. It didn't go well. I don't know if he was trying to look intimidating or he just got caught off guard, but not a great picture for him. And I think he does look a little concerned, right? Normally he's very rambunctious. He's all up in the air. He's throwing his arms everywhere. But in that photo, he's just very reserved, very looking in the camera. I think, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, things are really starting to set in for Donald Trump. Things just got real. He successfully delayed a lot of his other trials, but this one, he just couldn't get off his back for now. Couldn't get off his back, and now today it happened, and things are really getting into gear. But, before I show you the clip from CNN of them talking about Donald Trump falling asleep in court, snoozing, I want to talk about some of the proceedings that happened in court today, some of the most significant moments. Now, today was just jury selection. It's not all that interesting, but there were some tidbits that came out of this trial that had to be resolved before they actually get into the thick of things that are pretty fascinating. So, first and foremost, the day started off very badly for Donald Trump, aside from the fact that he's in court. He tried to push this motion to recuse Judge Maron, and it didn't go well. He wants him to step off the trial for some odd reason. Didn't happen. So Caitlin Collins reported earlier today, right off the bat, the judge is addressing Trump's efforts to get him to recuse himself. Maron says it's the opinion of the court that Trump is using, quote, a series of inferences, innuendos, and unsupported speculation to make his claims for recusal. Now, I think that, to me, sounds like legal language for, no, sorry, not happening, bud. Your delay tactics are not going to work anymore. More professionally put, though. He kind of just pushed back immediately, and that was obviously a loss for Donald Trump. This was probably the last stitch attempt, the last 11th hour attempt to try to get the trial delayed, even though he's sitting in the courtroom, but it failed. And rightly so. I mean, there's no reason for Judge Maron to be recused from the case. Trump and his MAGA followers will make up a conspiracy theory about a Twitter account or a firm that his daughter works with, which not quite sure how that means he's not impartial, but not going to work, not happening. But aside from that, the prosecution threw their own punches. Ooh, I love this part. Love when the prosecution gets in there. The Manhattan DA's office asked the court to impose a $1,000 sanction for each of 3 prior posts, which they allege violates the gag order that Donald Trump has in place against him in this trial. They also want him to order them, or they want the judge to order them to take it down and warn him that further violations will result in jail time. The District Attorney Alvin Bragg also noted that Donald Trump was posting on Truth Social inside the courtroom, and that also violates the gag order. Like, oh man, the first former president to ever face criminal trial, and he's like tweeting. He's like posting on social media inside the courtroom. First of all, what a dumb move. I bet his lawyers were not happy when they learned that one. But just what a silly move as well. I mean, you're like on trial. You're facing 34 felony counts. What are we doing here? God. So that happened. So there's probably going to be a $3,000 fine. Now, obviously, $3,000 is not a lot. It's not a lot of money. But it is just the first violation, at least in this case. And I do believe that if Donald Trump continues these antics, continues to try to violate the gag order and push the boundaries of the law, it's not going to work. And the judge is, this is a firm judge. This is not a biased judge by any means. He's just a firm judge. He doesn't play around. He doesn't allow the BS. So I think he's going to push back when needed, and I have full faith in that ability. But to continue to walk through the day of the trial, this is like probably the funniest story to come out of today, and also slightly concerning. CNN, along with other major news outlets that had journalists inside the courtroom, reported that Donald Trump was falling asleep, that he was drifting off while this massive, significant proceeding is happening in front of him, that he was like slumped, his face was down, his mouth was open, and that his eyes were closed, and that he was sleeping, and that he like jolted up. Not good. I mean, we'll talk about this more after, but all these Republicans try to say that Biden is this or that, but their own guy is like falling asleep while facing a very significant case against him. So here's this reporting from CNN, specifically the fantastic journalist Maggie Haberman.
Was inside court all morning. Maggie, I have to ask, you guys have been live blogging this event. And 40 minutes ago, you wrote an observation that I was very surprised. Trump appears to be sleeping. His head keeps dropping down and his mouth goes slack. Tell us about that.
Well, Jake, he appeared to be asleep, and repeatedly his head would fall down. There have been other moments in other trials, like the Agent Carroll trial, which was around the corner in January, where he appeared very still and seemed as if he might be sleeping, but then he would move. This time, he didn't pay attention to a note that his lawyer, Todd Blanche, passed him. His jaw kept falling on his chest, and his mouth kept going slack. Now, sometimes people do fall asleep during court proceedings, but it's notable given the intensity of this morning and a lot of what was being argued.
Yeah, yikes. Sleepy Donald, right? All these Republicans, as I mentioned, try to go after Joe Biden. What about Sleepy Donald? If Donald Trump can't stay awake for a serious criminal proceeding against him, where his freedom is on the line, it's a very high-intensity moment for him, then how do we expect him to be awake at 3 a.m. when there's a massive disaster happening around the world or in the United States and the president needs to be on call? He can't stay awake during trial at like 11 in the morning, but Republicans and MAGA Republicans believe that he's going to be awake to take that phone call and spring into action. This has never legitimately been a problem with Biden. Republicans say, oh, Biden did this, Biden did that, but it's never actually something to this degree. It's always kind of just like made up lies, I'd describe them as, from Republicans on the topic. But this is like multiple journalists in the courtroom observing him kind of like drifting off and then jolting when his lawyer eventually went to look at a note that his lawyers passed him. That's concerning to me. I think it should be concerning to a lot of people. Republicans will try to play it off as if it's nothing. But, not good. Not good. Falling asleep, I mean, come on. It's so ironic how they try to push this talking point about Joe Biden just for this to happen. It's like, mwah, perfect karma. So yeah, just had to show you that. Definitely one of the most interesting moments from the trial today. It's just so ironic, and I really have to emphasize it because it's such a beautiful karma. It's so ironic how all these Republicans push this talking point about Joe Biden, that he's this or this, when their guy is literally falling asleep in courtrooms. It's kind of that talking point's now falling flat on its face. But I digress. We're going to move on to the last and final clip. I know we kind of moved through all of this pretty quickly. It's been a long day. I know everybody's kind of glued to their screens right now. But Trump spoke outside of the courtroom after the trial was adjourned for the day. Now, before I show you it, just to give you a little context, the judge ruled that Donald Trump has to be in court every single day of the proceedings, or he could face jail time. He can't just go on a vacation. He has to actually show up for criminal court, which is typical, of course. And Donald Trump had a problem with that. He spoke about that specifically after the trial today. I'm going to show you that clip, and we'll talk about it in a second and wrap up. So here is Donald Trump once again.
So I just want to thank you very much, but that I can't go to my son's graduation, or that I can't go to the United States Supreme Court, that I'm not in Georgia or Florida or North Carolina campaigning like I should be. It's perfect for the radical left Democrats. That's exactly what they want. This is about election interference. That's all it's about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so he is upset that he can't go to Barron Trump's high school graduation, or that he can't be campaigning in Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, all the other states that he mentioned. He's upset that he actually has to show up in court, which one is one of the most arrogant, egotistical statements I've ever heard, that he's just too good for court. He's too pompous. I can't be here. I can't be sitting in court. I have to go do things. It's like, no, buddy. You are any other criminal defendant in this courtroom. Outside there, you might have a cult. You might have a Mar-a-Lago estate. But in here, you're a criminal defendant here, man. You can't just evade being in trial because, it's inconvenient for you. It's like, sorry, that's how trials work. And the second thing I thought about is hey, if you want to go to Barron Trump's high school graduation, which, would he go to it? I don't know. Barron Trump's high school graduation, you want to be campaigning, I have a remarkable, innovative thought. Don't commit crimes. Don't commit crimes. If there wasn't sufficient evidence that you broke the law, you wouldn't be in this courtroom. You wouldn't be indicted. You wouldn't face any indictments. You'd be fine. There would be no questions here. But, if you break the law, if you're certainly being accused of breaking the law in a very serious manner with a lot of evidence backing it up, then I'm sorry that's such an inconvenience for you, Donald. But sorry, this is the path you chose. This is the view that you took. Yeah, just a very simple, innovative thought that doesn't really rub well with Donald Trump. He can't really keep himself away from breaking the law, apparently. But, of course, a very historic day in American history. I'm glad that we all got to watch it and see everything that goes down. And, of course, this is going to be going on for the next 2 months, 6 weeks-ish is what the judge said. So buckle up, hunker down. We got a lot of trial to go. And I'm excited to listen to more and talk about it more further with all of you. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for being here and supporting. And of course, make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Drop a like on the video, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this trial. I really want to know. And of course, share this video with anybody you think needs to see it. And as always, I greatly appreciate the support. I greatly appreciate you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.